Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Had a pretty wild story come out over the weekend, and we have some updates. Blake Horstmann from Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, All-Star Shore, robbed in Paris Blake's lady partner, Giannini from Love is Blind and All-Star Shore. They met on All-Star Shore together, had a lot of jewelry stolen. So we have a semi-happy update I'm going to get to, but I'll share and walk you guys through this whole story. So he posted this over the weekend. Well, F word, less than an hour in, and G got pickpocketed. Thousands in cash, passports, jewelry, everything. If anybody knows what we could do, please let us know. We're at the police station now. Now, I'll give an update. After this, though, of course, there was a lot of commentary over what they should have done. People need to carry their stuff inside of their shirts. They make passport wallets that hang on your neck and are under your shirt. Stop wearing purses and fanny packs. Paris is literally notorious for pickpocketers. Why would you just be carrying that stuff on your person and not have something safe to keep inside? Listen, all those points would be valid, but it's one of those like, does that help me get my jewelry back? And again, the internet is really more of a place for people to post why they're smarter than other people, right? That's what we do online. Here's me letting the society know that I'm smarter than you. And again, those are all valid points. I mean, you should have been traveling with, when I travel abroad, I usually keep now what I do is this. I keep all of my whole wallet is in my phone. And you might think, well, Dave, that means they could just steal your phone. Sure, but I also keep my phone in my front pocket. It's very hard to pickpocket your front pocket. It can be done. When I lived in Marseille, France, in the south of France, it was very common to see purse snatching actually from scooters. So you'd have a guy driving a scooter and then someone in the back of the scooter would grab your purse. And regardless what size purse you have, if a scooter's coming by at 20 miles an hour, it's stealing your purse, unless you have a clutch or, whatever. The photo that was shared of Blake and Giannini was, I guess they had there's a type of stroller that can fold into a car seat. It's very compact and doesn't have much storage capability. I personally decided not to buy that because I actually prefer a bulkier stroller and just dealing with the fact that it's going to be a little bit harder to lug around. But that's really not important here. Did she have her purse sitting on the stroller while they were taking a photo? Sure. I mean, when you're traveling abroad, you're a sitting duck. Now, you might say, Dave, aren't you doing what the commenters are doing, which is blaming them for having their stuff stolen? No, it's just a cautionary warning. I remember the first time I went to Paris, someone tried to help me. I was at the kiosk, which is where you went to buy a local train ticket. And they immediately tried to rip me off, but I was aware of it right away. They were trying to get me to buy the $26 all-day ticket, and then they were going to hand me the $2 €1, and they were going to probably resell that somewhere else. Like I knew there was a con going on. They're all over the place. There's literally, I was robbed in Barcelona. I've had people try to, one of the pickpocketing schemes that was done to me in Marseille was a bunch of kids trying to practice karate moves on you. And, it's like, it sounds so obvious when you say it out loud, but these things work to an extent. And sadly, this was exposed during the Olympics with people, and they were just a victim. They were probably spotted a mile away. They were probably at a touristy destination, taking a few photos over the river, and someone distracted them. A lot of pickpocketers work in teams. Sometimes, dozens of people. Full families of pickpocketers will work together to create diversions or scenarios that distract you. And you need to know, if you're ever in a scenario where you are distracted, just double check that all your things are covered, and that's all you can do. Have photocopies of your passports in different locations. So they then posted this. G had all that cash to give to her family that lives out there. So y'all can stop victim blaming now. My God, why did you have that much cash? The amount of people saying we deserve it is insane. I swear the internet sometimes. Yeah, no, they don't deserve it just because they had cash on them, and again, some people, and then after posting this, some people were blaming Blake for using the term victim blaming, which is often used in, domestic violence or in sexual assault cases. Look, he's the victim of pickpocketing. It sucks. They'll be fine. They're relatively affluent people. They'll be okay. It still sucks, nonetheless, but there is a happy ending of sorts. He then posted an update yesterday saying, y'all, this is wild. Hold on. There it is. But we got a DM from a burner account saying we can pick our passports up at a police station. They didn't say they were found or it was police, just that the passports can be picked up at said address. Sure enough, they were there. I think it was the person who stole it, LOL. I guess there is honor among thieves still. Saved us a trip to the embassy. Hey, look, also a good situation. I had to get a visa last minute. And I had to fly to another country because, I had to get a student visa. And at the time, while I was in France, I had to go to a French embassy, and there's no French embassy in France. So they were like, literally, you got to go somewhere else to get this. And the amount of effort and pain it took to get something so simple, I had to wait in line. And, people were like getting ripped apart from their families trying to get permission to enter the country. It's real crazy. It's a real crazy time out there. So anyhow, that's at least good that they were able to get their passports back. And it could be worse. It could always be worse. They're healthy, family's okay. It just sucks. So I'm sure it probably affected the rest of their trip or is affecting the rest of their trip. And what can you do? I always look at it as this: however expensive that robbery is, that pickpocketing is, you are now learning a lesson that you will pass down to your kids about, not being too trustworthy of others. There's a lot of scams that happen. I mean, I had to talk to my mom when I went home to visit last week, a couple weeks ago, and say, look, I'm never going to call you asking for money. There's a way to deep fake people's voices. There's a lot of people that scammed out there. The scams are getting smarter. This is a case of an old school pickpocketing, which will always exist. But just know that, there are people out there that, whether it's right or wrong, are going to do whatever they can to get a piece of the pie. So anyhow, wild stuff. You might see this video before my other video because sometimes that's how the algorithm works. But I do have my election coverage today over Bachelor Nation centric, what different people in Bachelor are saying, from Maddie Pruitt to Rachel Recchia. If you want non-Bachelor specific election content, I've got that on the podcast, The Rush Hour with Dave Neal. It's the biggest news story in the world, of course, the American election today. We'll probably not know who won the election by the end of the night because some states take longer to tally their votes due to, the different rules that exist in different states. Some states like Georgia, I think you get to know as soon as the election's over, they'll have already tallied a lot of the votes that came from mail-in balloting and things like that. And then other states, I believe Pennsylvania and maybe even Wisconsin might be the really slow one, where it might take hours or days to really tally those votes, especially if it's a close race. So I say all this as a public service announcement to be patient and be careful as Blake should be when he travels. Be careful not to share information that doesn't come from a trustworthy source. We live in a time where the fabric of our democracy is being threatened by foreign adversaries. We saw in Russia, they just created a fake video of a Haitian immigrant saying he was voting multiple times in Georgia. They don't care who wins so much as they care about really just ripping apart the good nature and the good democracy that we have here. So just a public service announcement. Be careful the information you share. Double check your sources. Stay calm out there. And let's let democracy play out. I fully expect that will happen. Who do I think will win? It's a close one, but I share my thoughts on today's Rush Hour podcast. Go check it out. Have a good one, everyone. Be careful out there, and I'll talk to you soon.